Hey all, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching this video. If you watch it till the end, great, thank you. You can subscribe to my channel if you want to. No pressure. Like or dislike. I do read comments, so if you leave a comment, that'd be great. Feedback, open criticism, whatever it may be. I would love to see those comments. Um, so usually my channel is about rants or talking tech stuff or basically talking about sports. In this case, I'm just gonna rant, not rant per se, but um, it comes down to Twitter. I've talked about Twitter in a bunch of other videos in this channel as well too earlier. In this situation, Elon Musk, it seems like he's going crazy with Twitter at this point. I mean, like it's one thing or another where Twitter, it's always Twitter, Twitter, Twitter every day, and it's getting a little tiresome at this point, honestly. Um, to be blunt, so long as Musk doesn't do a whole lot of damage with Twitter, then I don't really care, to be honest. It's just a matter of bringing in daily active users and monthly active users and bringing them back basically, and like making it more what it should have been or what it should be basically. I love the fact that he's trying to make it more open into open speech. Now, granted, yeah, you got the hate messages coming on, but how is that any different from like Reddit or for that matter, Discord servers for that matter? Content moderation should be in their place, but you know what? It, for false information, I mean, honestly, we've seen false information coming from the government themselves as well. The government themselves have been giving us false information, and to the point where, like 2020, Trump, or not even 20, from 2016 to 2020, Trump has said so many different things that were so many lies and misinformation. The news chose not to censor it out; they just chose to report on it, or at least push it out there. And his press secretary, whatever, and even not even Trump for that matter, Biden, maybe Obama. I mean, all past presidents. It was always a case where the government's always gonna like give us false information for whatever it may be, for their benefit, basically for the administration's benefit. So in this situation, there's one aspect as well too. Is like, remember, Twitter's also a private, not a private company, but it's a company that's owned by someone. It's not a case where it's like a government controlled entity. It's owned by an individual basically, or individuals in this case. So he has every right to do whatever he wants to do. It's just like the newspapers themselves. I mean, the newspapers report news, but at the same time, there are editorials at that point. And like the fact is like they can just shape and define how the message is sent out. I mean, it's a matter of like, yeah, you try to report facts, but it's a way of what you build around those facts to shape that narrative. So, and we don't say much about it, to be honest. I mean, it's like, yeah, if the news don't report false information, then yeah, it's great. But in reality, it's not a case of them reporting false information. It's a matter of they'll report the facts, but then adding their opinions on top of it, basically, again, to shape that narrative. So how's that any different in this situation with Twitter? I mean, and Facebook for that matter, or any social media platform for that matter. It's a case of like it's a communication tool that they're creating for the users themselves. It's up to them basically. They're leaving up to the users to do the content moderation on their end basically at that point. To build out their own content moderation and within the company, I could see what they were trying to do. I mean, that's trying to prevent false information and trying to prevent that mob mentality. But in reality, it's hard to do that. I mean, where do you draw the line at that point? We saw right now, like with the papers being released, or the papers being released, basically, like there was some suppression of information about Hunter Biden on Twitter. They're like, well, you know what? But in reality, it was more of a case where like they suppressed it because of that matter. If it was left open, I think it should have gone out there at that point. I mean, some news programs, media outlets were choosing to like suppress that information in ways, which they did. Uh, but Twitter is not a news organization, and it was one of those things where them suppressing it is uh, a little bit of a murky going into murky waters as far as like what they did. I mean, honestly, should they suppress it? I don't know, because like the thing is, their whole logic was basically, well, first off, we don't know if this information was hacked, from another, as far as how how the information was attained. So that's when I can understand that. But in reality, I mean, that's what WikiLeaks is. It's how's that any different from WikiLeaks, basically, where like you had all this information posted out there and all that stuff. I mean, like the information is hacked. I mean, Twitter can be that type of WikiLeaks type of thing that leads to WikiLeaks for them. But it's a case where, like, it's if it's a case of the what's it called, the insider information, whistleblower, the whistleblower policy, and Twitter is the forum for that. Let it be, basically, at that point. Now, yeah, the question is, how do you mitigate all the hate messages? You can't, honestly. It's no different from like people going out and creating their own rallies. Um, and especially with the Discord servers, WhatsApp groups, etc. Basically, people can basically create these hate groups with that, hate servers or online stuff. For that matter, even on the dark web, these hate groups exist. So like, you're not going to remove them. You trying to mitigate them is going to be hard. It's just a matter of like having people using their intelligence and realizing, all right, is this information accurate? Is this not? I mean, like, you'll see some stuff, but you might as well just look and research into it a little bit. It's a question of like, I saw some information coming out on Facebook. People were like, at the time when I was on Facebook, people were forwarding all these messages during the election year of 2016, and it was all this false information about Hillary Clinton. And I was like, does it seem accurate? Doing a little research, I was like, yeah, some of this information that was being forwarded or shared was like all incorrect, basically. And that's when I realized, like, you know what, people have to have the ability to realize, all right, some of this information that's coming out is not always accurate. It's a matter of who they're following, basically, at that point. I mean, if you're getting these information from like actual proper news outlets like Fox News, ABC News, CNN, MSNBC, etc., and they're posting it on Twitter, you kind of have a tendency to believe it. But if you're getting it from an individual that's sharing it from someone else, that's a whole different story altogether. It's a matter of like where that information. It's a matter of tracing back that source. Um, so that's why it's one of those things where this is a little murky subject as far as like, hey, should Elon Musk allow this? Honestly, it's up to him to do whatever he wants to do because it's his company, it's his platform. If people want to be on it, people want to be on it. It's not and all these celebrities that are looking to leave, you know what? They're welcome to leave. I mean, it's their opinion. I mean, like, this is not a case where, like, it's their freedom to choose whatever they want to do. If they want some other form of medium to, like, converse with their fans, or increase their fans, I mean, you've got TikTok, you've got WhatsApp. I mean, most specifically, you got TikTok and you got Instagram and Facebook. You've got all these other forms of mediums as well, too. Honestly, Twitter, the only reason why Twitter is so great is because the fact is you got people following it. As you got more followers, you have more cases where, when they directly message you, you can actually follow. But the thing is, you've got the trolling aspect as well, too. And the thing is, trolling has always been the case. And, like, I don't see any trolling has been, I specifically trolling and cyberbullying. I don't think they've actually reduced that in any of the social media platforms. Why is no one talking about that? Why are we not trying to reduce that? We're trying to reduce hate speech and misinformation. What about cyberbullying and trolling? That's never been the case. I mean, like, can you just? The one thing is like, because of that, you have the ability to mute the person on Twitter, or mute people or groups for that matter. So at that situation, it's like, okay, or to just plain out ignore it. I mean, I've ignored some of the trolling messages that have come on to me. I mean, granted, I haven't gotten as much trolling. I'd love to see some trolling to come on towards my end. And re-troll them basically at that point too. But in reality, it's a different scenario altogether. Um, right now, as you saw, basically this is my opinions. My opinions loads. I don't represent any individual, person, group, organization, unit, family members, friends, or anything. This is me, myself. That's just representing these opinions. Um, and in this situation, like, don't take it personal or don't take it to heart. I mean, this is me just ranting. I'm off the cuff. I'm not even rehearsing any of that. This is just like me freebasing, basically. Um, but again, coming down to the fact is like, you know what? Everyone's coming down on Musk. I mean, honestly, I could see what he's trying to do. I'm not trying to hate him. Yeah, the buying of Twitter from Musk, I think this was an ego boost. Basically, he wanted to control the message, but it's more of an ego more than anything else. I mean, you've got people that were trolling him on Twitter that were going against him, and like I think he wants to control that. Now, if he does that, that's up to him. That's his right to do so because he owns the company. But if he's trying to say, okay, this is free open speech type of thing, yeah, is it really? Because if you're controlling the message, then it's not. But at the same time, it's the same thing with, again, with the Hunter Biden laptop type of thing, and whatever it is that was being suppressed from Twitter from the prior management, prior group. I mean, it wasn't open. I think Dorsey tried to make it pure open, make it an open communication platform. I think he was trying to let the community handle its own curation and like moderation at that point. Like let the let it be a group effort at that point, or like sort of a crowdsourced content moderation. But in reality, it's hard to do that. And you know what, you could hire more moderators, but in reality, it's going to be harder and harder. And the fact is like that's one of the one things that is problematic with Twitter as well as other social medias. Like you can create multiple accounts and go in anonymously, but I think that's also the other aspect as well too. So I don't know. I've always, like I said, is like I'm trying to stay away from this. Not stay away, but I'm like I'll still use Twitter, but I'm not gonna like go against Musk as like some of his policies, what he's trying to do to Twitter. If he's trying to make it purely open, I'm all for it. I mean, you know what? Let it be all open. Let it be. Let all those messages come out there. Let all the head messages come out there. Because you know what? If it comes out there, it's a matter of letting it let it be crowdsourced moderation at that point. Let the general community moderate it. I mean, there should be some. Maybe he might create some aspect of like like the dislike button. If they created a dislike button on Twitter for some of the Twitter messages, it might work at that point as well too. Instead of hearting, you could just like dislike as well too, or to, for that matter, I don't want to say report, but like disliking makes probably make it more accurate at that point, and the fact that you can reply back to it as well too. So, I don't know. It's a little tricky subject at that matter, but like like I said, it's like I'm not gonna go against what Musk is doing. It's his choice because it's his company. People hate it, then you know what, they have a right to do whatever they want. They can actually, if they have an issue with it, do something about it, create your own thing then at that point, and go forward with that. Honestly, that's pretty much what I have to say. Again, everything is all my opinions. This is just a rant. It's up to you to you leave a comment, any feedback. If you feel like I'm wrong, welcome for the comments. If you feel I'm right, welcome with the comments for that as well too. But in most cases, like I said, usually these videos are going to be unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. So, and that's how I usually end it off. And as I said, basically in this situation, unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.